Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see Salesforce Chat REST API switch server response. So I made a get call to visitor availability endpoint with my org ID, deployment ID, and chat button, and then it gave me a response of type switch server. We are going to see why we get this, how to dynamically make use of this URL whenever our Salesforce org um, go through org migration or site switch. Whenever there is a site switch activity or org migration activity for our Salesforce org, then the chat live agent endpoint URL from Salesforce changes. So for example, here it is d.lafi. This was my previous URL, but currently the URL is changed to d.la1. So there is an inbuilt redirect functionality that Salesforce will redirect these traffic, but it is applicable only for standard implementation. If you have custom chat implementation using Salesforce Chat REST API endpoints, then you have to definitely update your URL immediately after site switch or org migration activities. So this switch server response is received when we try to access Salesforce Live Agent REST API endpoint with the wrong ID. So for example, here the wrong org ID is this one. So this is my org ID, and for this org ID, this is the chat endpoint URL. But I'm trying to access a different endpoint chat live agent URL for this org ID. So immediately it will give switch server. So let's say you have Salesforce REST API chat implementation. In your code, you should handle this switch server. You have to check whether the response from the Salesforce server contains a switch server, and then you have to dynamically update your configuration variable with the new URL attribute. So whenever you get type switch server, the message will have new URL. You have to definitely go and update this new URL with your old URL. You can dynamically do this. Uh, uh, so for example, if you wanted to do it once in a day, or you can set some um, variable in your code so that it does do that whenever you have some time triggered events, so that it will do this first, and then it will try to find out whether the messages contains type as switch server, and then it will get the new URL from the message, and then it will and then it should dynamically update the URL. Whenever there is a site switch or org migration activity, you can make use of this approach to dynamically update your Salesforce chat REST API endpoint URL. So here I got this switch server response because I'm using d.lafi, but actually my endpoint should be d.la1. So make use of this uh, switch server response to dynamically update your Salesforce Live Agent chat endpoint URL. Please check the video description. I have shared my blog post. Using this blog post as a reference, you can get the endpoint URLs and sample screenshots, and you can build on top of it. I hope it was helpful. Thank you for watching.